Hello and welcome to the Somatic Movement and Mindset podcast with me, clinical somatic educator and founder of Total Somatics, Heidi Hadley. The Somatic Movement and Mindset podcast has been designed to help you gain a deeper understanding to how your mind and body work. You will learn about your amazing mind and body and why over time you can feel pain, recurring injuries and poor posture. Within this podcast, I will teach you why this doesn't have to be your future or the norm for you. Would you like to learn how to reduce pain, move freely, and gain a new lease of life? Let's get started. Hello and welcome back. Now, just before we start this episode, I'd like to invite you to the annual event, the Total Somatics Live Experience 2022. So it's going to be from the 4th to the 6th of November, and it's free. So if you've got any family or friends that want to join, all you need to do is go to totalsomatics.com/live experience, leave your email details there. And when the event begins, I will send you out the Zoom link so you can join me live. Or if you're unable to join me live, you can then watch the replay. That will be available for a few days for you to watch and catch up on. We're going to cover movement, mindset, and mindfulness through the Total Somatics approach. But let's start with today's episode, because in today's episode, we're going to consider the importance of gratitude for our total somatic well-being. And this is really, really important because there's so much research out there now for gratitude and how gratitude improves mental well-being. However, what's really interesting is that in many cases, the studies that have been conducted are often on people that don't always seem to be struggling with their emotional or mental well-being. So I had a look around because I wanted to find something to share with you that's research that's actually showing how we know it's really important, we know it's very effective, but I wanted to show you a scenario with research, how people that do struggle with their mental and physical and emotional well-being, all that side of things, how gratitude has a profound effect on them. And what happened was there was a study in 2016, 2017, and the study involved 300 adults. Now, they were mainly, or most of them really, were college students seeking out mental health counselling at a university. So what happened was they recruited these participants before they started their first counselling session. And on average, many of them reported clinically very low levels of mental health at the time. Many of them were suffering with depression and anxiety. So what they did is they had 3 groups, and all of them received counselling services. So that was the one thing that was the same. They all received that. But group 1, they were actually, in part of the counselling service, they were instructed to write 1 letter of gratitude to another person each week for 3 weeks. The second group were encouraged to write about their deepest thoughts and feelings about their negative experiences that they've had. And the third group, they weren't told to write anything, so they didn't have to get involved in any of those activities. And the results were fascinating because what happened was group 1, which is the gratitude group, from writing gratitude letters, they reported a significant improvement in their mental health and well-being. And this feeling was still reported 12 weeks after the writing experience had ended. It's pretty impressive, isn't it? And the reason they looked at this was because they said the mechanisms behind the mental health benefits of gratitude letter writing actually revealed some really interesting points. And that was that when they compared the percentage of positive emotion words and negative emotion words and the expression we, so it's bringing in this community feel, this overall feeling, bringing in the word we, it actually started to change the overall well-being of an individual. And what they noticed was in the gratitude group, the people used a higher percentage of positive emotion words and the we expression all the time, and a lower proportion or a lower percentage of negative emotion words, which was really interesting. And they said here that the power of the gratitude letter writing showed that it produced better mental health by shifting one's attention away from toxic emotions such as resentment, bitterness, envy, jealousy. Isn't that interesting? Because they said when you start to write down how grateful you are and how blessed you are to have these people in your life, It's really hard for you to ruminate on those negative thoughts and experiences and emotions. And we know, don't we, from previous episodes within the Somatic Movement and Mindset podcast here, I've talked about how your mindset influences your perception. And so whatever we feed our mind will influence how we view the world, how we view interactions with people. And if we're looking through a lens of gratitude and kindness and nurturing and lovingness, or if we're looking through a lens where we're critical of people, critical of ourselves, fault-finding, negative, suspicious of a compliment to what anyone is saying to them, because we've allowed a negativity to kick in, to really ruminate and take hold really within our emotional, mental, physical and energetic well-being. So just considering that little nugget of 300 participants, which I think was pretty cool, I'd like to share some sort of top tips for bringing gratitude into your daily life. So you might want to scribble these down. I've got a few notes that I've got here that I'd love to share with you. And the first one is, could you create a gratitude journal? And each night, write down between 3 and 5 things that you've been grateful for that day. It might be, and my husband and I do this, we have a gratitude jar. And at the end of each week, we write down 5 things that we're grateful for. And then at the end of the year, we open the jar, we look at all the little post-it notes that we folded over and put them in, and we look to see what we've been grateful for over the year. And what that does is it really helps us to appreciate the year that we've had. And it gets us really excited about the year to come. Because what we're doing is we're focusing on the gratitude, the things that we're appreciative of, because we've all got that negativity bias. That's what's set in us for survival. It's very easy for us to go towards the negative, but it takes practice and consistency if we can start to move towards that mindset of gratitude. And also something that's really important is to say thank you to people, people in the community, people that serve us. It could be the cleaners, it could be the people that are taking our rubbish away. It could be shop assistants, it could be a taxi driver, it could be a person that's letting you into the traffic and just give them a little wave and say thank you. All of those things, they really help, because I always say kindness is contagious, isn't it? When we wave and say thank you to somebody, it gives way to you in the car. When you're in the traffic, or saying thank you when somebody's bringing your meal in a restaurant, that's huge, because all of us have a role in the community. And when we respect each other equally, not only is that good to create that gratitude, but just consider putting yourself in that other person's shoes. If we say thank you to them, you don't know how much those 2 words can mean to them. We don't know what's going on in their life. We don't know if they've just had an obnoxious customer, or they've just been given a diagnosis, they've just lost somebody. We don't know what's going on in their life. And those 2 words, thank you, can mean a lot to a person. So we are giving. We don't always realize what we're doing. And also bringing a smile. I was only talking to somebody yesterday about, and I've mentioned it in other podcasts, is that when we smile, it's like a hug from afar. And when we're going for walks in the park, and we recognize the same people, if we're going on a regular walk somewhere, we can just smile at them. And then over time, it might be a hello. And what that's doing is creating this community and this friendliness and this gratitude. We really appreciate human connection. And in a certain way, consider that through times of like pandemics, when people were locked down and we didn't have so much social engagement and interaction, we yearned for that community, didn't we? So could we appreciate the situation that we may be in now, that when we're going for a walk, we can smile from afar? Just a simple hello or thank you will go a long, long way. Also, maybe we could call a loved one, maybe somebody that we haven't chatted to for a while, and within the conversation, just weave it in to say thank you and how much you really appreciate their friendship and their support. Because what we really want to do is, considering and flowing on with another point from here, is could we really nurture our friendships? Could we bring in with the friendships loving, kind, encouraging words? Could we avoid hostile behavior or the moodiness or judgmental behavior? Because that's toxic and that will destroy your friendship. And it also starts to destroy you within inside, because when you start to live, remember we talked before, when you ruminate on toxic and negative and hostile thoughts, not only just affects your inner peace and your well-being, but it has physiological effects on your body. It can change and create high levels of inflammation and all the other things that science and research has shown over the time. So let's nurture friendships. Let's be kind, non-judgmental, supportive, loving. All of that is really, really powerful. And finally, just another little tip here would be really important is, could you practice total somatic movement? Create a regular session, because when you sense and feel, you also start to notice when you're doing your movements, you can sense and feel all these changes. And what's incredible is this powerful process of neuroplasticity and bioplasticity. These are all things that are in us. They are things that will alter and change our posture, our muscle tension. It lowers our stress levels. It regulates your nervous system on so many other levels, you know, to deal with hormone secretions, all sorts of things which are involved with stress responses and inflammation. And all these mechanisms will self-regulate in your intelligent soma when you create a mindful total somatic movement practice. And then what's incredible about this, again, is feeling the difference before and after your session. And what this does is it brings this great feeling of satisfaction and gratitude to know that you spent a bit of time out, that self-care, to actually reset, recalibrate, nurture your soma. Create that gratitude of thinking, oh, I feel so much better. The tension, the tightness, the pain has eased. I'm moving with more fluidity, more rhythm, instead of walking quite wooden. Pain levels have started to reduce. All of that makes you feel very grateful that you have a skill and a technique that you can use to tap in to these incredibly powerful processes within your soma. So that's why I'd like to encourage you again. If you're hearing this before the Total Somatics live experience in November 2022, please come along. So it's from the 4th to the 6th of November 2022. If you go to totalsomatics.com/live experience, leave your details there and you will be automatically invited into the event. And also remember, this is free. So just pass this around to everybody, because this work is so powerful. It's changed so many people's lives over the years, and I just want to share it with you. However, if you're listening to this after November 2022, you can still be very much involved here. Because if we want to develop this attitude of gratitude and start to notice how we can make changes in our own soma with our releasing tension, improving our posture, reducing pain, just creating more fluidity and movement and shock absorbency through our joints and through our body as a whole, you can also get involved today by going to totalsomatics.com and click on the shop page. And when you go to this shop page, you will see there are workshops, there are audio classes, there are breathing techniques, all sorts of things that you can purchase today and get started. So I look forward to seeing you either for the Total Somatics live experience, or I love hearing all of your responses when you've started following things within the Total Somatics shop. And also, just keep connected with me. So if you go to totalsomatics.com, you can find all the latest information there when there's any future workshops and events. And then I will keep you up to date with the very latest in pain science, movement science, neuroplasticity, somatic movement, everything. So I'll see you next time. All my love and best wishes. Take care. Bye.
Thank you for joining me today. If you've enjoyed this episode, please leave a rating and also forward this on to somebody you know will benefit. To learn more about pain relief, plus how to improve your health and well-being, go to totalsomatics.com. Until next time, take care.